What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So I've been asked to judge a architecture rendering competition, or to give it a better name, a render battle. So I thought this would be a kind of a cool opportunity to kind of involve you guys as my audience to help me decide my favorites. So I'm supposed to pick out my top 5 kind of favorite renderings, and I thought I might involve you. So I'm just going to go through all of these renderings that I've got, all of the entries, and I'm going to be asking you for your comments and telling me which one's your favorite one. And also I'm just going to be sharing some of my comments and what I think about these renderings, and you can tell me if you agree with me or not. Now, for each of these images, in the upper right corner there is going to be a little number that goes with that rendering. So please tell me in the comment section below which one you prefer just by using that number. So just write that number and say this is my favorite one because of whatever. So that's how this is going to go. So just in the comment section below the video, please help me out with this. I already have an idea of what my favorite ones are, but I would like to hear your opinion and include that in the judging. So with that out of the way, let's get straight into the judging. So let's go. And here we are on my computer screen, and this is where I'm going to be showing you just the all the renderings, and then we're going to be kind of judging all of these, and I'm going to, as I said, going to be telling you what I think about the creativity, the visual appeal, as well as communication. So let's get started from this first one. And then also, as I said, here this is the number that you need to type in the comments if you want to help me judge. So just tell me this number for the favorite rendering that you see. So as I change, as you can see, these numbers will change. So just for the rendering which you prefer or which you like the most, please tell me in the comment section below just this number that appears over here. Okay, let's get started. So this is the first one. I really like this one because it's a little bit different. It has it's not a computer rendered. It doesn't have that feel like a computer rendered image. It does look kind of cool. The only issue I have with it, the kind of the whole composition of the photo, the whole kind of look, has a sort of a sharpness. But then when we go into detail, there is no sharpness. So that's kind of something that I find a little bit missing from this. But overall, it's kind of cool and different. So yeah, that's it for this one. Moving forward, this one is kind of a dystopian future or something like that. This one looks fairly decent as far as kind of the creativity and visual appeal. The communication is okay too, but I guess it could be a little bit better, just kind of giving us a little bit more information through the rendering of what's going on. This is the next one. This is kind of cool. This is an image composite, and I really like this one. First of all, from the kind of visual appeal sense of the things. Kind of the perspective is kind of annoying a little bit because of the edges, but that's okay. And then, of course, here having this lady jumping up is kind of nice. It gives kind of a center to the image, something to draw your interest, and I think it's fairly decent overall. It's kind of confusing looking at her. Is she inside of the building jumping or doing some ballet or whatever, or is she like outside of the building falling? So that's kind of a little bit confusing, but overall I really like this image for like the visual appeal. Next one is this one, and again, this one is visual appeal is just amazing. It looks really cool. It's something more conventional, I guess, when it comes to renderings, but like the whole visual appeal and communication of just what exactly is going on here is really good. I just want to kind of go there and chill out in this house. So this one is like really a high level of kind of polish and quality. So this one I really like as well. Moving forward, this one, looking overall at the composition, I really like these kind of like where you have these sort of collages and so on. But really, when you zoom in, you start to get all of the detail and just how much effort went into this. So overall, I like this one. Let me just take a look at the grades. Yeah, I really like this one. Just the communication could be a little bit better because it's really hard to kind of figure out what's going on here with this. So it's something that looks really cool, but it's kind of confusing a little bit on the other hand. But overall, again, it is a really cool rendering, especially when you zoom in and see just the level of detail and effort that went into this. Moving forward, we have something that looks like this. Fairly decent. I mean, I don't have anything that's kind of jumping out, and also I don't find like a center to the image, something to kind of grab your attention. We have some kids here, I guess, and so on. We have these things in the water, but overall it's fairly okay, but nothing like that pops out. This one, I really like this effect, this way of representing the image. It looks kind of don't get this the wrong way, but childish kind of representation. But I really like that effect. It kind of shows what's going on, and the building is interesting. It doesn't really have that wow effect at all, but it is really appealing to look at, and it can communicate what's going on really well. So kind of high grades on the communication, decent visual appeal, and okay overall when it comes to creativity. This one's really nice as well. It has kind of that, it does have a little bit of that wow effect, but it kind of dissolves. Like, I'm guessing this is, I mean, of course, this is the kind of the center of the image, what draws your attention, but it does seem like everything that's going on is outside of that. So these little lights and everything, and a nice background, and then when you look at the center, it kind of brings you down. Like, I expected a lot more from this. So that's kind of the only issue I have with this. But again, it's really effective. It does have like a center where kind of concentrates your attention, which I really like. But overall, I would like to see a little bit more happening here and a little less everywhere else, because it kind of draws you there and then nothing happens. So that's my only issue with this one. But again, I really like it. This one I really like as well, because it does kind of tell a story. Here we have something like a empty shipyard thing, and it is again some sort of a dystopian future. Here we have a dead, I don't know, probably a sea animal or something like that. So it's really harsh. It does have really good visual appeal, really good communication and creativity overall. So this is one of my more favorite ones out of all of these renderings. Moving forward, this one I like really also because, for example, here without this person down here, it would be pretty much nothing. But when you add that little kind of human figure, it does put everything into perspective, and you can see the scale and everything. So I really just like how this shows how important it is to add a person or something to just give you an idea about the scale. The only downside is it doesn't really tell you much about this. It is a highly effective, visually appealing image, but in terms of communication, it could do a little bit better. Moving forward, we have this, some sort of an underground city. The only issue with this that I would say is perhaps this image is kind of distracting a little bit. It should be ground, so I would be quite okay with this being completely just black color or something like that, but I do get it. It does look nice. And also here, another issue that I would say is, because it is a really cool idea and really cool image, is the fact that here all of these buildings kind of on the surface, everything looks fairly okay on the surface. I would think if people were going underground, this would be all kind of burning or something like that. This would look terrible, and then this part would kind of look like the new normal, new happy. And I kind of miss that here because everything looks fine on top, then why would you go underground? So that's the kind of the only issue that I might have with that. And this one is kind of another image in the same idea, same approach. Again, some sort of an underground shelter, but this one tells a better story because it's, well, you see a little bit better that it's an underground shelter. This one is all a lot more visually appealing, but a lot less communication there. So that would be kind of the takeaway between these two. Moving forward, we have this. This is kind of a futuristic sci-fi looking rendering. My main issue with this is because there's just too much going on. I don't know where to look. There's this big light here, drawing my attention. There are these flying things. Next we have these kind of soldiers here, a lot of lights. I just don't know what's going on and where should I look. So that's kind of the issue that I have with this image. So it does look like a lot of effort went into that, but it just kind of requires a little bit better composition, I guess, just to kind of draw my attention. Moving forward, this one, for example, just shows how here you don't really know where to look, but here it's kind of quite obvious. This is kind of the center of the image. This one I like. It's kind of ticks a lot of boxes. It does give you kind of a story of kind of emptiness, and then just like one person here in their house. Kind of, it does. They do have a house, but it's kind of completely melts into the surroundings and so on. It does look really good and effective, high visual appeal, good communication, good creativity. So this one's one of the kind of the more favorite ones out of the batch. Moving forward, this one lacks a certain polish. I'm quite okay with having these collages where it doesn't fit in perfectly, but this one, it looks like it tries to fit in but fails. So that's my main issue with this thing. If it were not fitting at all, like obviously not I mean, these images, if they were not kind of following the perspective at all, and it was obvious that the artist didn't want to kind of fit these together, I think it would look just a little bit better. Here it just looks like it wasn't completed in the best way possible. And also having these pixelated images, as you can see here, kind of the pixels are showing a little bit and it's blurry. It does take away from the image having like sharpness here and then blurriness here. So that's the main issue I have with this, but the overall creativity is very decent. Moving forward, this one's nice. I like the whole effect of it. What this image lacks for me is because of all of these people that have been added in, they could be telling a better story, yet they don't. It just looks like they're kind of scattered everywhere. I would like to see them I would like to see something happening somewhere. It's just a nice like background image. It doesn't have that kind of a storytelling center to the image where you're like kind of pulled into, okay, something's happening here. So that's my main issue with this one, but very, very visually appealing overall. It looks like one of those kind of modern pictures that people hang up on their walls. Moving forward, this one's kind of cool. This one looks like some buildings that were made out of stone, and they're on the mountain, and it looks fairly cool overall. I would like to see a bit more polish on these, but overall it's fairly decent. It kind of ticks all boxes. It's okay. It doesn't have that like wow factor, but it is really, really quite okay. Moving forward, now this one is, I'm having my issues with this one, mainly because I really, really like the image. I like the idea. The creativity is really high, and then the visual appeal is just lacking. It's obviously not done as a 3D image. It's not rendered as from a 3D model. It's obviously 2D, and I think that's why we see a lack of depth to the image. and if it had a bit more depth, I think it would look much better. Now you can achieve that using just Photoshop. It's obviously much harder, but it does require something like that for an image like this. It's just too flat, I guess you would say. Even though it's really good communication wise, creativity wise, just the visual appeal could be so much better, and this would probably be my favorite one if the visual appeal was on a much higher level. Here I like the effect and all, but it's just, it lacks a certain center to the image, which I think is the idea. But then again, it's just not telling the story in a way that it's kind of recognizable just from looking at it. So that's my main issue with this one. Moving forward, this one is it's kind of cool, but here the way that this image was composited here, for example, this chicken and this these plants kind of take away from the main building because of their, I guess the crispness is higher on these than the building itself, so that presents a few issues or problems. But overall, it's quite a decent image and quite a decent project. I do like it. Just would require a bit more work of fitting in all of those additional elements. I'm guessing this was done with Photoshop afterwards, and it could have been done a little bit crisper, but overall fairly decent. This one's quite cool. This one's kind of a Corona world where kind of drones bring you food and everything, and you can't leave the house. I really like that. I really like this. It has kind of a Blade Runner sort of effect, so it does tell a story. It does have kind of a center to the image, which is over here on the drone and the lady that's kind of picking up the package. So overall, I think this is a really good both the polish, the visual appeal, and the storytelling and the creativity. So this one does get high marks from me. I think it's really good. Could have a bit more of a wow factor, but overall really good. Oh, we have a police drone. I just realized that. That's cool. And also here we have a hotel, but I guess in the Corona world, this thing is kind of obsolete. But anyways, moving forward, this looks really nice. This is kind of also has kind of, I think climate change is one of the kind of the main topics, which is kind of odd. A lot of these have to do with climate change, and I just see how much in other university climate change is an important topic, and then in my university we never really mentioned it. So it just tells a lot about my university. But anyways, just a good overall image, a good visual appeal. It does fail a little bit when it comes to kind of finding the center. I don't know really where to look or what's going on. But overall, I think it does tell a story of what it is. But it could have kind of more underlying story there, but overall I think it's a good rendering. This one as well, kind of these two are kind of similar in that way, where it's kind of a whole lot of things going on without one specific central thing to kind of lock your attention. So that's what's missing, but overall both are kind of high quality. This one is really good. I really like this one. This one has kind of the story, it has the creativity, visual appeal could be just a little bit better, but it's overall really good. So this is kind of a Legoland, like I think the whole idea was like when the night falls, then the Lego people come out or something like that. It's really cool. I really like the crane kind of building the thing, and there are some kids here, and it does draw your attention here, but also there's additional things to kind of look through, and more you explore it, more you see. So this one I really like. This one gets high grades. I think it scores good both for creativity, visual appeal, and communication. So overall, this one is again one of my more favorite ones, one of the top ones. This one I like as well. It's kind of cool. It centers your attention. It tells the story. It is kind of wow-ish. So I don't have much to say apart from that. I really like this. I think it's really, really good rendering and a representation. So not really nothing for me to complain about. So this one's cool. This one is good. This is kind of like I guess a space station thing, and it's kind of done in that collage representation, which is it's good, but it does lack a little bit of depth. I would like to see perhaps things that are in the background being differentiated in some way from the things that are in foreground. It's really hard to look at this image. It does take a kind of a while for you to kind of, okay, I figure I get it, but I don't know, it does lack a certain amount of depth that can be achieved with this effect, definitely. Anyways, moving forward, this one is really nice. This one's kind of a graphite on paper. It's a little bit different, still quite cool. So it's interesting, but it doesn't have anything that I'm like, okay, wow. It doesn't have that wow effect, but it's fairly interesting and kind of a fun drawing. Okay, this one is probably one of my favorite ones when it comes to communication and storytelling, because it does tell a certain story. Well, it allows you to create a story, what's going on here. We have these kind of two women on terraces. I'm guessing these are two different apartments, and like I see them as like two bitter rivals trying to one-up each other every day. So, and they hate each other. This one has a cat. And so it does allow you to kind of create a story of your own. So that's what I really like about this one. Even though the whole visual appearance isn't something fantastic and it's fairly simple and straightforward, I still really like this one, mostly because of kind of the creativity and just the simple story that it tells, but it does do it in such an obvious and nice way. So this one I really like. And tell me, this one's kind of the thing I'm not really sure about, so I really would like to hear your opinion on it. This is really cool. This quite different, but really cool. Like the whole, like the creativity and the visual appeal are high. Something that I really kind of sad about is the fact that it kind of stops there. I think that this could have been much more, much better. It's just not enough. It does lack some things, just a little bit of a story, something to kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. It does look really cool, but it could be so much more with just a little bit. So that's my issue with this one, but it is quite cool. This one is took me a while to figure out what's going on here. It is interesting. It does lack a center of the image, but still, with this much complexity, I think that wasn't like, it's not the priority. And I don't know. I again, this is one of those where I'm not really sure what to think. On one hand, I really like it. On the other hand, it's a little too cluttered, which I get it. That's kind of the whole idea. So again, for this one, please tell me what do you think. But I think it does look really cool, and the visual appeal is, at least for me, is quite high. This one, it's interesting. It's fun, but it does kind of lack, again, a little bit of that story. It looks like some sort of a wallpaper or something in the background plays, but doesn't have that kind of that effect where you kind of want to look at it and figure out what's going on. This one I really like. This one is like, it looks like like futuristic Game of Thrones, you know, like the Iron Throne is here, and these are like your like enemies hoisted up. I don't know. It does look really cool. It does kind of center the eye. So this one's, again, one of my favorite ones. Definitely one of the top ranked ones, at least by me. as a judge. I really like this, like everything, creativity, visual appearance, storytelling. It's got everything, just perfect. Moving forward, this one I really like. It lacks that kind of that wow effect that we have here, but as far as architectural renderings, I really have nothing to say negative about this. It's really good. If an architect that was working for me came with this, I would be really impressed. So really like this one. Does lack that kind of wow effect, but still it's not something that I think that the architect was interested here. So it's just overall a really high quality rendering. This one's quite cool. It's kind of has the same, it doesn't have the same polish. It kind of lacks that visual appeal just a little bit, but it does have something kind of wow-ish, something to grab your attention. So this one's, it lacks a little bit of polish, but then it brings a little bit more in wow effect. Probably that first image that they've shown you just in the beginning kind of combines both of those. Yeah, this one. So this one's both like that, kind of has that a little bit of that wow, and then the polish is kind of there as well. So those three are similar, with that the one that they've just shown you as kind of the best one, at least for me. This one is nice. It's a bit too again flat, doesn't grab my attention as much, but when you zoom in, like I guess when you zoom in, it does look a lot nicer. It does kind of tell a story a little bit, but it doesn't concentrate. Kind of, I would like to have the kind of the concentration here in the middle. It does lag that a little bit. I think this would be much better if you were looking at it on a canvas instead of on a computer screen. If it was a lot bigger, it would be much better. It's really good, but not for this format, unfortunately. But overall, I think it's really good. It does have a story, it is appealing, it has a little bit of that wow effect, so this was really cool as well. Let's move forward. Oh, I have to zoom out completely. Okay, we're back. I figured out how to change images on Windows. Anyways, this one is another one that I really like. The polish is high. It does look kind of like a video game or something like that. It's usually renderings have a problem with being too perfect. This one kind of takes advantage of that, but uses it in a good way. So overall, I really like this image. It does feel kind of centered, yet something is happening. There is a story, and also with a really good visual appeal. So overall, I think this one is really good as well. Again, one of my favorite ones. This one is good, but it does kind of add, I think it adds more confusion than it tells a story. So that's my main issue with this, but it does look kind of cool and futuristic, bleak, dystopian. So I guess that was the idea. So it's cool. Moving forward, this one I really like. It, even though it's not like a perfect rendering, it does tell a story really good, with a fairly decent visual appeal, and the creativity is high as well. So this one is quite interesting for me. And again, tell me in the comment section below if you agree. This one is some sort of like an underwater city structures. The main issue I have with this one is really unclear what's going on here, even though, okay, we can see that something's going on, and it has something to do with water, probably underwater, but still it does lack a little bit of explanation. I guess you would say, okay, we have multiple of these, but again, it's really unclear of what's going on here. So that's my main issue with this one. This one is cool. So here, obviously, it's like a flooded area, and then here we have like a flood, and then this is with like a floating house. So it's kind of the solution for a house that's a solution for a flood. And it's obvious that this wouldn't work if it was just this image. So you have to have kind of both, showing you like the issue and then the solution. My main issue with this one is the fact that just like they're just next to each other. It could have been done a little bit better. Maybe try to combine all of these maybe in one image, like where like one neighbor had this house and the other one invested in like a fancy floating house, and then like showing the difference in the situation. I don't know. I just don't like the fact that it's kind of just next to each other. That's taking away a little bit from that, but overall I think it's really good rendering, showing everything really nicely. So overall I really like it. Just main issue is like with this line just in the middle, like okay, let's move forward. This one I really like. Looks like one of those Soviet Union posters, propaganda posters, showing you what your new workspace looks like. I don't know. It does look really cool, really effective. It's kind of some sort of a vertical maze, I think. Again, it does kind of a little bit, it lacks a story. Maybe if there were some people here or something like that. It's just lacks a little bit to kind of get me completely interested in it, but overall I think it's really good, really effective. I really like this one as like the quality of rendering and of the image, and again I just miss the story here. It just looks nice without telling us too much of a story, so that's the kind of the main lack of it, but it does look really cool. This one has kind of everything. So this one doesn't tell a story. This one tells like 50 stories. So overall it's interesting. It's, I think, too cluttered, too much is going on, which I guess it's a good idea, but maybe you could have this effect but kind of try to put one thing in the middle, kind of have it like the main thing going on in one place, and then the kind of the rest in the background. Here everything feels like it's in the foreground, everything feels like you should look at it, and it's just confusing, just cool but confusing. Anyways, I think those are all of the images. If you've watched the entire video, thank you so much. Please tell me in the comment section below which ones are your favorite ones. Again, here you can see the numbers, so just use this number to tell me which one is your favorite render. So if you like this one, you just say, okay, the 6024 is my favorite one because, I don't know, or just my favorite one. So yeah, those were all of the images. Tell me in the comment section below what you think about these renderings. Who do you think deserves to win this render battle? And the results will be posted, and I can share that on my social media, my Instagram and Facebook. And that's probably a good time to tell you, to ask you to please follow me on my social media, my Instagram and my Facebook. Links will be in the description of the video. Okay, so this was a little bit different. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon with another regular Balkan Architect tutorial. So yeah, keep watching, stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.